Digitization does create challenges around cybersecurity, it also presents opportunities to create power plants that are highly efficient, super smart, more flexible, and better equipped to adapt to new energy trends. In our next panel discussion, industry experts will discuss the topic Power Plant of the Future. I would like to invite Sudhir Pal Singh, editor ET Energy World, The Economic Times, to moderate this panel discussion. Over to you, Sudhir.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you and a very warm welcome on our platform today. I'm Sudhir and this is a panel discussion on the power plant of the future. And this discussion is part of the larger digital transformation theme that we have chosen for our flagship event, Smart Electricity Conclave. For the discussion today, we have a really eminent set of panelists including Mr. Manish Srivastav. He is the ED of IT at NTPC. We have Mr. Prasanna Kumar, the MD of GSECL. We have thirdly Mr. Bhaskar Bhattacharjee. He's a senior VP at the Jhajjar Power Plant of CLP India. So a very a pretty full kind of a panel that we have there. What we will do is we'll try and structure this interaction in two parts. First, there will be a general discussion on what we will have, as the key broad attributes of the power plant of the future, taking the views from panelists on that, mostly from the technology perspective, and so that's one part. And secondly, we will also try and gain a deeper understanding of the subject by asking the panelists to share their individual experiences from their own areas of expertise or the kind of work that is being done in their own organizations. Let me start this discussion by asking Mr. Srivastav here, right? He looks after all the IT and digital transformation related areas for NTPC, and that's a very, very major role. When you visualize the power plant of the future, what are the key attributes that you have in mind? And in what way those attributes would be different from the traditional way of looking at the different structure and functions of the power plant. But before that, let me ask Prasanna, a very well-known name he is, and I want to understand from you, what does this change mean for you? When you look at, you are heading GSECL, when you look at this, what are the key attributes of the power plant of the future that come to your mind?
Actually, as already discussion started by Srivastava, in the present dynamic and competitive power scenario, the cost reduction is the prime important factor that drives many things. So gone are the days where power plants are issued of schedules as per their availability and as per their cost. Now, in the present environment, if you want to sustain in the market, power generating market, you have to be cost competitive. Like our installed capacity is 343,000 megawatt as on date, and our peak demand is only 1,88,000 megawatt only. That is also peak. That means 55% of your power plant assets will be not operating if we are not cost competitive. So just I want to mention that in all the aspects of the cost competition, cost competitiveness, the digitalization plays an important role. The major challenges as on date to power sector is first is the cost reduction to get into merit order rating so that your units get at least minimum generation levels. And second one, which is already highlighted by Bhaskar Bhattacharya, is the age of the units. Most of the thermal power utilities of 220,000, 230,000 megawatt, they are of more than 20-25 years old. So maintaining the availability and reliability of these power plant is a great challenge where this digitalization helps a lot in finding out the health of the equipment and taking the necessary preventive actions and also foreseeing the any major breakdowns and attending the breakdowns in time at right time with optimized resources. So in all the aspects of the challenges being faced by power generating companies, digitalization play a very important role in even in the minor aspects of power generation.
Okay, okay. Prasanna, one thing that I wanted to, that's a fair point, and I completely agree with you there. If cost optimization is a goal, then digital, being digitally savvy will help a lot. It means a lot. But can you help me understand in what way, where do we stand when it comes to this latest adoption of technology? As a nation, where do we stand? Are we really at the forefront of adoption of this technology when it comes to other countries, or we are still to catch up? Where exactly do we stand?
Actually, Sudhirji, there are a lot of improvements in last 10 years in the field of digitalization. But we have to achieve more to catch up to the level the European countries already achieved. So, of course, there is a lot of improvement and a lot of improvements are going on, but there is still a lot of scope for improvement in each and every area of power plant operation, maintenance, and other logistics. Everywhere there is a scope for improvement. So, we should find out the gaps. What are the gaps there? And we have to try to put all the efforts to bridge those gaps so that we can get advantage from this digitalization area.
Okay, okay. Bhaskar, let's have views from you on this important topic.
Carbon emitting plants. So another thing that I think we must mention is that apart from the cost,
Ask you is, so we are talking about cost optimization here, digital technology as a means towards achieving cost optimization. But then digital technologies themselves have a cost to it, right? So as a power plant manager, how do you strike that balance, and how does that interplay of these two factors, how does it play out for you?
as of now,
Now, if you see,
There's the sense of urgency in terms of understanding where is the industry headed. How do you make sense of this entire situation, right? Isn't this a lot of transition happening at the same time? So how do you, as a power plant manager, how would you try to understand the interplay of these different factors which are in themselves changing so quickly?
so this is actually Gujarat State Electricity Corporation is a right organization having the mix of different types of fuels, different types of power generation, coal, lignite, gas, hydro, wind, everything, every type of generation is available with the Gujarat State Electricity Corporation. So the proper mix of these sources of energy and optimum utilization of the renewable energy resources, I think we have been practicing since long and achieving very good results. See, as on date, as you rightly said, the scenario is entirely different if you compare it with the scenario 10 years back. As on date, with the RE integration, the operations of thermal power stations and also the renewable power stations have become a very complex type of activity, unlike the earlier days. Now, if you see the state of Gujarat, we are having around 7,000 megawatt of wind. We don't know when the wind energy is going to peak and when it is going to come down. So matching our thermal power generation and gas power generation and lignite power generation, based on all these factors, that is not possible if we do it manually. So
Yeah, unlike the earlier times when we only were relying mostly on coal-based or gas-based generation, it was more stable and more predictive.
yes,
You could predict it. But then now you are dealing with a lot of variability.
yes,
So,
exactly.
so at the level of generation itself, you have to keep your operations optimized to match that
Yes,
resilience.
yes. Actually, the thermal power stations, they are the base load of base load. Generally, they are used for base load. But nowadays, we are using the even thermal power stations also for flexible operation. And units are getting start up in the morning, and they are getting again shut down in the night. Like that, several times we are starting and stopping the units. So this is posing a lot of challenges in operation as well as maintenance activities of these plants. See, and one more important aspect here is we have to keep the environmental emissions also into consideration while doing all these activities. That is that creates further challenge to the power generating utilities, because you must be knowing with the same infrastructure available with the same type of technology also, by properly tuning the combustion, you can reduce the emissions to a great extent. Where 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 with simple investment towards digitalization will help power stations to tune the combustion process and reduce the emissions to a great extent. So keeping emission factor also into consideration and demand and mix of different type of fuels, that is a great challenge. And for effectively coordinating all these things, digitalization is a need of the hour. Already people are implementing that, but this needs to be implemented with further aggression and with a focus to complete the process within next 2-3 years to completely digitalize the systems.
Yeah. So apart from emissions, like Bhaskar was talking about, age of the unit also plays a very important role.
Exactly,
The
exactly.
extent to which.
Exactly. That is a very important factor. Some of our units are even operating at after 40 years also. Many of the units in the country are being operated even at 50 at the age of 50 years. They're maintaining the availability and reliability of the equipment for sustained power generation. That is really challenging. So digitalization certainly help if it is properly used in knowing the health of the various equipment on real-time basis and taking the necessary actions immediately.
Mr. Srivastava, let me turn to you now at this point. We have discussed the larger.
It is a must. Now, on the back end, I'm asked not to go there. 20 has just passed, applied in NTPC, a particular unit based on in this lockdown. So this was, and now we are going to
managing procurement, things like that. And all of them are really, really important areas. And finally, he has also touched upon a topic which, makes me think that we should discuss it slightly in more of a detail, is the impact on manpower, because there's a view that, digital technologies, of course, will have an impact on job creation. So how does it really pan out? Anyway, but Prasanna, let me come to you on this point. The four really important points he talked about: cyber, digital technologies applications for power plants, cyber, ramp rate, demand forecasting, and procurement. How do you respond to this at your own level? How does, which one of them would you think are the more important ones? And at your own level, how do you also face similar situations at your own organizations? How do you manage these things?
Okay, so before going to your question, I just want to touch upon 2-3 aspects which I missed during my discussion. See, actually, in most of the thermal power stations, in or any power station, there are operation technologies and information technologies, and but there is no seamless integration of these two technologies in most of the power stations. They are designed for their own purpose, and they are not designed for digitalization initiatives or digitalization use of digitalization. So the need of the hour in most of the power stations is to integrate these operation technologies and information technologies seamlessly. That gives the proper and desired output from the power stations. That is
Can you give an example to illustrate this?
so I already given that example. I was discussing about the combustion control, fine
Okay.
tuning of the combustion control. Many
Okay,
technologies, many packages are available, and with a little investment, we can achieve the emission levels that are prescribed by MOEF without even going for costly infrastructure addition. So, like that, the operation technologies and information technologies should be seamlessly integrated for getting best result out of digitalization. That is first point. Second point is in the present scenario of renewable integration. Now the requirement for solar plants as well as wind plant is that you have to predict your generation and you have to intimate that. Otherwise, you will be penalized. If you are deviating from your schedules, you will be penalized. So,
But how can you predict something like wind, like what you were saying earlier? So
yes. So nowadays the importance of forecasting of solar radiation and wind speed across the period of total 24 hours, that is become very important aspect now, which can only be done through this digitalization process. And we have been doing this in most of our solar and wind power stations and achieving the very good results. That is second point. Third important point which I want to highlight why this digitalization is more important nowadays. Government organizations in particular and all organizations in general are facing the problem of superannuation of experienced people. That is creating a lot of talent gap in the organization. So we can effectively utilize this digitalization process in capturing the experiences of the person who are leaving the organization to the possible extent. I cannot say that we can capture those experiences 100%. That is not possible. But to the possible extent, with the digitalization initiatives and the technologies available now, we can capture the experiences of the people who are living, and that
so that intellectual wealth that has been created over time is not lost.
Exactly, that intellectual wealth will be useful to the organization for the years to come. So this is also one of the very important aspect. And one more important aspect nowadays, what is the why we should go for digitalization immediately is the atmosphere is conducive to digitalization now, and people who are against digitalization pre-March 2020, now they are in the favor of digitalization because of the experiences in last 8 to 9 years. I clearly see shift in the opinions of many of the people who generally are habituated to manual mode of working only, and they never believed digitalization. They also now are digitalization savvy and asking for that. So this is a great help that COVID did to us. One more point is that the current situation is conducive because of other reasons also. Like as on date, the cost of sensors that reduced drastically. The cost of sensors, cost of memory, cost of storage system, digital storage systems, everything related to the digitalization, the cost reduced tremendously. You can say in some cases, the cost even reduced by 600% also, if you compare in the last 10 years. So the situation now is conducive for going for digitalization. And in one of recent studies, it is concluded that with the digitalization, we can save with minimum amount of digitalization, we can save around 10% in our production and around 30% in our cost. With all these lucrative figures and availability of technology and availability of all enabling conditions, this is the right time to aggressively go ahead for digitalization and get benefit out of that.
Okay. Okay. Again, a lot of really important points, and so he's basically talking about things like integration of the operational and the operation and information technology. He's talking about, for example, as an example, forecasting of wind speed. He's also talking about how manpower experience can be captured. Frankly, I myself didn't know a lot of these things, and which is coming out of this discussion as applications of adopting the digital means. And the most important point he has talked about is how it is, this challenge is now becoming an opportunity, in the sense that the cost has come down for a lot of this material and services. So if you don't act now, it may be late. So that's a very, very important lesson that we can draw. But let me ask Bhaskar. Both Manish and Prasanna have shared their views on when it comes to the real life applications when it comes to digital. What can you tell us from your own experience at CLP and at Jajjar?
Overall shit. So basically, artificial, as and when it comes, many companies are working towards that. But as and when it comes, it might give us a big boost. It might be a game changer.
Topic, no doubt about it. But then the time is not really on our side, and we'll have to wrap it up. Let me try and wrap it up by saying that so we have looked at the two sides of the thing, right? We started the discussion on Industry 4.0 and the cost imperative. So while the imperatives are there, but then at the same time, so for example, there are managers are dealing with issues like age of units, or the environmental compliance is to be met. Things like that are there. But at the same time, there is definitely there's a very definite and clear roadmap for benefits that can accrue from a digital journey for any power plant. For example, we have looked at in Mr. Srivastava's experience, dealing with cyber attacks, and that's becoming a major and a real world challenge now, unlike what it used to be earlier. Digital as a solution for ramp rate, that's something both Prasanna and Mr. Srivastava mentioned. Demand forecasting and even procurement services. Digital as a solution for integration of the operation and information technology, like what Prasanna was saying. Forecasting of wind speed. So basically saying that even RE integration has to happen. If it has to happen, digital is a very, very important role to play there. Plus, a very interesting point raised by Prasanna was how it can help you capture manpower experience, right? And that's a very, very valuable intellectual wealth, should not go waste for any asset manager. He has also talked about how it's an opportunity because cost has itself come down, right? And finally, Bhaskar talked about how machine learning giving flexibility in operations and operation management, asset management overall. These are all very, very important points, and all of them require threadbare discussion individually, separately. All of these threads need to be discussed. I think Prasanna wants to say something before I close. So please, Prasanna, go ahead. Yeah.
Actually, just I want to add an important aspect of digitalization in India. So what generally people perceive, they neglect the low-hanging fruits, and they go for high investment digitalization process, leaving the small processes which can be effectively used with very less investment. Like I want to give an example. In a power plant operation, there are a number of activities are there. Generally, we focus on the main generation activity only, leaving aside the other major contributors in deciding the generation cost, like the fuel. Fuel contributes around 70 to 75% of the cost of generation, whereas the digitalization initiatives are not much taken in that area. And second, if you see the ash handling systems, fuel handling system, ash handling system, and other balance of plant activities, they can be digitalized with least investment and get good results. So the power utilities should focus more on these low hanging fruits and get benefit out of the digitalization process.
Okay, okay. Yes, Mr. Srivastava wants to perhaps give the closing comment.
Have the
Discussion. Very thoughtful, very thought-provoking, engaging, interesting discussion. Let me close this with two key takeaways. One, that Prasanna said that there are low-hanging fruits, you must go and grab them. And secondly, I think what Mr. Srivastava said, that it's not a luxury anymore. It is a must to have digital applications. On that note, gentlemen, let me close this discussion and thank you for your time. It was a pleasure interacting with you. Look forward to interacting with you again, maybe in the next version of this discussion. Thank you for your time. Thanks.
Thank you everyone for a detailed discussion. Let's move on to the next session. Stay tuned and keep tweeting using the hashtag ETEnergySEC.